Most of you know that it is thanks to the love and support of this community that we were able to build a village for special needs children out in Tanzania. That village now provides a safe and loving home to nearly 200 children that were living in crisis. Most of these children are special needs, but a lot of these children were homeless, and the majority have no parents or guardians in this world other than the family that this community has allowed us to create. Everything that we do to support these children is made possible by this community and those who choose to share what they can and get involved and become, as I often call it, in their own way, a percentage of the parental role for these little ones. For those of you who are already partnering with us, thank you for the love and support. But for those of you who don't know about it, everything that we do is made possible thanks to partners, those who choose to partner with our family and with it make everything that we do possible and keep our doors open for the next children who need some help or a safe and loving family home. If you'd like to hear more about our partnership program, you can do so by visiting www.sharetanzania.com/partnership. Thank you for all of the love and support, guys. We couldn't do this without you. God bless. To live in this world and to not recognize the epic war that is ongoing here can lead us into great confusion, great dismay. As we begin to place suffering and pain at the table of responsibility of Creator, we begin to say that because all things pour forth from the generous heart of God, that the Christ, that loving Creator, votes for all that pours forth from it. For life to have meaning, the source of all had to allow for infinite potential and free will. But every use of infinite potential and free will is not. It's not the will. It doesn't get the vote of the Creator. And Creator's love is just. And so once reality was set forth, Creator restricted its power inside this reality, unless its children who have the gift of free will choose with their free will to allow the power of Creator to manifest here through them. We are in a spiritual war. You will pay the price for lying, betraying reality, and with it betraying the Creator. If you're going to betray reality, you're not going to win. Who are you? Who are we as an individual expression of the all to misrepresent the creation of the all and the events of the all that take place? Thankfully, I had the evidence to prove that this man was lying. But the battle continues, and there's a certain intensity there. And for all these small minions of the enemy are driven by the weaknesses of man, such as greed and the hunger for power and ego and the want for respect through fear, not love. For all these weak men are driven by these small fragmented energies. The Master-in-Chief of Darkness simply uses those small factors, such as the lusts of the flesh and greed, to gain soldiers towards a goal that such people have no idea about. The fallen ones wish to ensure that this world of ours has openings, frequency matches for their kind to be here. Those frequencies are long, drawn out, tormenting frequencies. Great suffering and pain are in those frequencies. Make no mistake, the village that we are building is not only about the children that will live there. It is about the whole of humanity. Africa is the black magic capital of the world. It's frequent here. Witch doctors and so on. Sacrifice. It's very common. More common than anywhere. And here in Africa, not only Tanzania, are millions upon millions of children who, as I speak now, are laid alone, suffering, starving, with bed sores, confused, in pain, mentally, physically, emotionally, unable to talk, unable to get up and walk away, unable to call for help. Some of them are being raped. Some of them are being beaten and burned. All because they have incarnated in a world whereby the original creation has been tampered with. And therefore, as you have the original source code programmer here, you see the perfection. But as you have the fallen programmer who creates from the attainment of knowledge by dissecting the workings of God and that higher intelligence which is the fallen, you have a programmer who creates from knowledge. And when you create from knowledge and not all knowingness, you create from ignorance. And so a child incarnates in a body which is defective, in a world which is defective. And they have parents who are defective. And so the minds of the parents say, this child is cursed. Or the minds of the parents overshadow their heart so deeply that they don't love the child. And they keep them alive not out of love and compassion, but out of fear that they will be prosecuted for infanticide if they don't. And these children are there in this bubble, this cocoon of a frequency of suffering like you have never imagined. And for those of you who are empaths, when you break down a door or you meet a child like that, you feel it piercing the middle of all that you are. And in that piercing, suffering ball of energy around them, that aura of pain that they are in, a love awakens in you that says, you are so helpless that I choose real love here. I love you and I need and I want and I expect nothing from you. Millions of children are like that now as I speak. And the field of torment that the children of God, the light of God, which we all are, is going through in this profoundly potent reality, makes space and frequencies for the fallen ones to access this world, this continent, and the world beyond it. In the same way war does, in the same way perversion does. And nobody is speaking about it. Nobody is aware. This village will not only be the biggest in Africa, but it will start the journey. Aside from the children it will help, it will start the journey in collective human consciousness for us to recognize and see that these millions of invisible children are here. And perhaps rather than us persistently pursuing our pleasure and our socializing and our pina colada on the beach, we might get up and go to war for them and set them free. And in setting free one child, you begin to set free fallen consciousness for all of man. This village is about more. It's about more than just the 500 plus children that will live there. It's about the beginning of the evolution of man's heart and mind to recognize this problem and these children and allow us to walk into a solution for that. This is why we are facing such immense and dastardly and heinous and dark spiritual warfare as we are. The war of consciousness to liberate humanity, this is one of the front lines. These children and child sacrifice, and child trafficking, these are front lines. This is suffering that's incomprehensible to the most part for all of us who have lived and grown up in the West. But if you teach a young man that instead of manifesting abundance to buy a Bugatti or to have multiple sexual partners, that he can become a man of honor, a warrior, who can stand up and say, hey, this next month my task is to rescue those without a voice, without an ability to run away from one of the most unimaginable hells on earth possible. Imagine the difference if men targeted that instead of the satanic puppetry that's been dangled in front of them in the West. Imagine if we understood a new beginning, a new horizon of what a man should be. When men are honored for never betraying reality, for never telling a lie, where the whole of humanity understands what the highest of high is in human form. This too shall pass, the spiritual warfare that we are facing, these weaklings that Satan is entering to try and slow down and disturb the dawn of a new beginning for human consciousness and for this country and this continent and the whole of the world. To put the invisible children in the spotlight, to take away, to make progress, to plant trees we may not sit under the shade of, but to make progress, that humanity will start seeking these children. And as each child is rescued from their own suffering, we close another portal of frequency where the fallen can anchor themselves in this reality. And as they anchor themselves in this reality, they can, as we know, continue to create more problems, more war, more corruption, more deception, possess more people. Every enemy that we have here, Creator has kept me a step ahead of them, for they don't have vision like I do. They don't have the Holy Spirit as I do. And so even the schemes of the devil that were to manifest now, the Holy Spirit warned me in November to do certain activities, and I didn't understand why, and it has protected me in this moment. You cannot beat the Spirit of truth with lies and mediocre intelligence or even good intelligence. But you see, the problem we face as a species, if you don't go all in with God, you don't have the power. If you go to church on a Sunday and you pray and you fall back to the toolbox of the nationality, you say, I can't do that because I don't have money and skill. So you basically say, money and skill is God. It is the God of this situation, and I don't have enough faith to say God can make it happen without those factors present. You don't have the full power of God there. But those men who cross over into lies and deception as a way of life, as a tactic, if they don't go all in, they have the same problem. They don't recognize that they're just a puppet for Satan to fulfill his master plan. But there are those among us who do go all in. And they are connected to a lot of the problems with child trafficking and sacrifice. Those ones who are willing to murder children, who have zero fear of God. They become the black magicians, the black priests. And they have the ability to harness codes from the fallen programmer and direct them into people's lives. And those are the ones where the boundaries of their deception and lies is not limited by the boundaries of your imagination's capacity based on the field of goodness that you hold. The manifestations of evil through human form, they are not limited by the boundaries of the goodness of your imagination. And it takes a lot of shadow work to cross over and recognize exactly what they may do. This village, it's about more than the children. It's about the overall war against the fallen nature. And no, not everything is in the control of the I Am. For the I Am limited its power here. But if you with your free will choose to let the I Am come through you, you open the doorway where its power need not be limited. But you must choose it. And for that power to come through a man, there must be no interference from memory and language and self and meanness and personal history. Here now a new creation, a new being, Christ born in human form, is what we must become. For as he was in this world, so are we. Greater works than he you will do, for he has gone to the Father. For Christ's power to be born in you, here and now, you must be willing, in the face of death, in the face of violence, in the face of corruption, in the face of deception, to stay present, whole, and grateful to your Creator. And there you can walk by faith. And there you pass through this reality with a supernatural toolbox Nobody's teaching you how to use analytical processes to gain more money, to gain more freedom. No one's teaching you that. The Spirit itself will take you with the new power, the new toolbox that you have. It's not something taught to the mind. It is a blind faith, and it is as simple and yet as complicated as being lovingly aware. Loving awareness. It requires no analysis, plotting, planning, scheming. It requires none of that. Loving awareness brings in the source code, and that trumps everything the fallen do, and it alters reality. It opens doorways and synchronicities, and you see the hand of God powering through all that you do. And the beauty of that place is that when it gets too much, you put your hand back and God's hand is there and it takes it. And you feel it. And when others are crumbling with fear and worry and self-absorbedness, you roar with love and you just keep going with joy despite the enemy's attacks on your life and the surroundings you're in. The power of Christ comes through man when the voice in your head that says, "How do I get that?" is not there. And it is there that you purify the demonic. It is there that your prayers are made manifest. It is there that reality itself at times takes a knee for the presence of the Holy One moving through the life that you formerly mistook for a personal history, a nationality, a religious identity, a political identity, a spiritual identity, whatever concoction the mind has generated. God so guides the humble. When the mind is absent of an image of self and its dreams, goals and desires, there God will take you to the Creator's dreams and will for the human shape and form you formerly identified with as a name, a nationality and a personal history in these memories. And this is awakening. This is rebirth. This is the power of Christ in man. Only there, where the sacred is born through you. It needs no thought and label. You can try to point at it with thoughts, labels, religious paraphernalia, spirit. You can do all of that. But before words came into the world, before language came into the world, the sacred was, the Creator was. And the connection to it was known and felt and touched. But there were no words to define it. And this is where we must return for the introduction of the fallen state, the slave self, to that state of separation, has made us amnesic of that space, for we live purely as mind as master. The slave master of the mind is the fallen, and the slave master of man is the mind. When mind is no longer in the throne of your life, the source code programmer, the Christ, will take the throne. And only through that power can man change the world. And change the world we must. For much of this is not getting the vote of a loving God. It's not here to teach us. It's not here because of karma. It's not here because this child has something to learn. That's why they're locked alone in hell on earth. It's here because sentience abused the gift of infinite potential and free will. In the same way men rape and murder. Abusing the gift of creation and the joy of falling in love and having children. When Yeshua came into the moon matrix, as I called it in a recent video, a path was set. A path was set for humanity to be able to live beyond this world. To realize that this world may make you suffer, may give you pain, may kill you, may lock you away in the dark as it did the apostles. But it's all an illusion, limited by time. And eternity awaits those in the presence of that highest love who choose to live for the Creator's will, who choose to say, love for one another has more value than my own life, my own plans, my own desires, my own schemes, and my own wealth and abundance. And you may not look as beautiful as you could in that life. You may not have the things that you thought you should have, but Spirit will look after you. And inside you will recognize your wholeness is the envy of those who are yet to reunite with that place. This village is not just about the children. I've realized this. It's about the beginning of the end of a major frequency cocoon across Africa that the demonic are using to their benefit, and with it, freedom for millions of children can come from this new seed born in human consciousness to awaken to this reality that we are in. That while some of us enjoy a nice, relaxing life and complain without much gratitude, there are those of us incarnating here who will suffer and die and never understand the point of it. And those of us enjoying the nice life, we have the power to set them free. But we must tool up. We must stand up. And we must connect to our general to direct our lives and where we should go to be efficient in this war. And it is only in the I Am, the space of profound inner peace and freedom from a personal history, a personal meanness, to see the world without language memory, to see the world as nothing but loving awareness and the mystery that it is, that our general, the one that wishes to set us free, the Christ, can guide our lives and show us the way, the role that we play in all of that. I'll leave it there. God bless you all, and blessed Sabbath.